1971 সাল বাংলাদেশে তখন চলছে মুক্তিযুদ্ধ। পৃথিবীর নানা প্রান্ত থেকে বিদেশি বন্ধুরা তখন সহায়তার হাত বাড়িয়েছিলেন। তাদেরই একজন লিয়ার লেভিন, আমেরিকার বিখ্যাত চলচ্চিত্র নির্মাতা তিনি। সেই সময়ে পশ্চিম পাকিস্তানের হানাদার বাহিনীর বাংলাদেশের মানুষের উপর নিপীড়ন নির্যাতনের কথা শুনে এই মানবিক মানুষটির হৃদয় কেঁপে উঠেছিল। তিনি তখন ছুটে গিয়েছিলেন বাংলাদেশে। ভারতীয় সীমান্তবর্তী বাংলাদেশ এলাকায় তিনি 2 মাস থেকেছেন। শরণার্থী শিবিরগুলোতে গিয়েছেন, যুদ্ধ ফ্রন্টের ছবি তুলেছেন, এমনকি সীমানা পেরিয়ে তিনি বাংলাদেশের ভেতরেও ঢুকে পড়েছিলেন। আর সেই সব দুর্লভ ছবিগুলো নিয়ে পরবর্তীকালে তারেক মাসুদ এবং ক্যাথরিন মাসুদ নির্মাণ করেছিলেন মুক্তির গান নামে একটি চলচ্চিত্র। আর সেই মুক্তিযুদ্ধের মহান বন্ধুর কথা শুনবো বলে আমরা আজ এসেছি নিউ ইয়র্কের ম্যানহাটনে। লিয়ার লেভিন থাকেন বস্টনে, সেখান থেকে তিনি এসেছেন এই সাক্ষাৎকার দেওয়ার জন্যে। চলুন মুক্তিযুদ্ধের এই বন্ধুর কথা শুনি।
My film company that did documentaries and television commercials always donated its time and money every year to do public service work. And when the horrible tornado and flood hit East Pakistan in 1970, we were very moved, and I felt that I should do something in order to raise funds to help the people, the survivors. So I contacted the consulate, and they allowed me to do my own concept of a commercial. And then during your war for independence, we followed that very closely because we had a certain attachment, and I'd made a few Bengali friends. And of course, as a filmmaker, several of my heroes were Bengali filmmakers, and I knew about Tagore and his poetry and things like that. So that was basically the connection. When the war came along, my company, we were very small, but we were very moved by the events, and things progressed from there. I felt that if I could make a film that Americans could look at and other people around the world could look at and raise their consciousness, make them sympathetic toward what was going on and the plight of these 12 million refugees and those that were being slaughtered by the Pakistanis, that we could raise money through this device and hopefully do something good. I had a writer friend, and who's a very good journalist, and he went over ahead of us, and he spent several weeks there looking around, setting things up so that we would connect with people that could help us the most in getting our message across. And my wife insisted that, please, you know, we have a film company here. This is how we live. This is how we feed our children and support our staff. Don't be gone that long, and don't make it what we call a magnum opus. Don't make it the greatest film ever made. Just make a document that will heighten everybody's interest and make them contribute. Make it 10 minutes long. So we went over there, and we met this fabulous troupe of musicians which guided us through the various camps and helped us tell our story. And I just got swept away. I couldn't stop the camera from rolling. I couldn't stop being with these people. I was so moved. And it just got longer and longer, and instead of shooting 10 minutes, I shot 78 hours of film. I was used to the adventure, and I'd been in the military myself. So this was all very exciting to me. The only problem is most of the fighting took place at night. And so I would go out on patrol, and I would have my heavy cameras with me and my sound equipment, and I'd be going through the jungle, and every once in a while I'd see some flashes in the trees, but if I turned on a light or something, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. I would have been dead many years ago. And that's what happened. And in the course of putting our work together, the George Harrison concert for Bangladesh took place, which heightened our interest in the whole project. And it went a long way toward raising people's consciousness toward this tragic event, which ultimately turned out to be a triumphant event. The concert for Bangladesh was groundbreaking, bringing together some of the greatest musicians, popular musicians in the world for such an extraordinary cause. People who were so revered in this country, Ravi Shankar, George Harrison, Eric Clapton, Dylan, I mean, all of these great personalities putting on a show for Bangladesh, the concert for Bangladesh. It was on everybody's lips. You know, a lot of people don't like you when you do stuff like that. And these people had a lot of guts, you know. And they just said, we're going to do this, we're going to put on a great show, we're going to make people aware of what's going on in Bangladesh. And we're going to call it the Concert for Bangladesh. We're going to raise money, we're going to raise people's awareness. And if you don't like it, go to the devil. And that's the way they felt. It was just really exciting time. It was very moving. It was a very moving experience. I'm actually getting emotional now just thinking about it. It was a time that you know, we all banded together. Everybody shared a similar emotion. You know, that we've got to do something. And my bags were already packed. I had my cameras ready, and I told my staff that you know, don't look for me right away, but I will return, and we'll go on making our documentaries and TV ads and TV shows and things like that, but I must do this. So we took off. When I finished the film, my editor took forever to do it, and I let him take too much time. And I sound like I'm mean for blaming him. I should have been more involved, but I was busy trying to catch up on my business because I'd been away for a long time. And I had 6 people to support, you know, plus my family. So he was in my house, and he had the editing equipment and stuff, and he just took a long time to do it. And by the time he was finally done, the complexion of your country had changed. The leadership had been deposed, and the army had taken over, and people had lost interest in what was going on. So here I was with a feature-length documentary, which I called Joy Bangla. And I showed it a few times, and people found it interesting, but there was almost no reason for it. It was a historical document, but it wasn't vital anymore. So I didn't know what to do, so I just put it in my basement along with the other 75 hours of footage that I'd collected, and it sat there forever, for years, I don't know, 15 years, 18 years. And every year my wife would say to me, and she's a very fabulous woman. She was in charge of my company, and she's far more brilliant than I am at everything. But she would always say, what are we going to do with all that damn footage? I mean, it's clogging up the basement. There's no room for anything else. And I said, well, you know, a lot of people risk their lives to get it. I mean, I'm just not ready to throw it out. I'm not ready to take it to New Jersey to some, you know, dump. I'm going to hang on to it. One day, young fella, Tarek Masood, came to me and said, you work with my cousin. He was the leader of the troop that you photographed. And I'd like to have your footage. And he was very adamant. And I was sort of shocked. And he was this very attractive, very sharp young man. And he said he'd bumped into somebody just by chance in a college in New Jersey who had known me or mentioned my name and said I had all of this footage, which captured a good deal of your revolution and the refugee problem. And he said, I want that footage. And I said, well, wait a second, you know, it didn't have that much value to me anymore, except as an emotional, thing. And I thought it was too abrupt. So the next day I got a call from his wife, Catherine Massoud, and talked to me for about 5 minutes. And within that short space of time, I just said to her, Catherine, you and Tarek can have anything you want. She was just so cool. And she just had the right touch, and she still does. She's a brilliant woman. So I gave them all the footage. They didn't have any money, but they had all this footage, and they rented equipment, and they spent 5 years, I think, putting together Muktagan. Did a great job, and gave me credit as the person that shot all the original material and directed the original material. They were very generous with me. And, we remained great friends forever. It was a wonderful relationship. And then tragically, Tarek lost his life. It broke my heart. It was like somebody took away my brother. But they put it together and they did a great job. And now I can get on a bus, and if I look at somebody and he looks like he's a Bengali or she's a Bengali, I'll say, did you ever see a movie called Muktagan? And most of the time they'll say, oh yeah, sure. He said, oh, well, I worked on that. And they said, really? So it's a little, puff for, an 80-year-old man to feel that. So I feel pretty good. God, I'm very emotional, sorry. It's just a subject that has meant so much to me over the years, and the people of Bangladesh have always been so generous with me and to me, and I have so many friends that I'm just very touched anytime the name comes up.
প্রিয় সুধী, লিয়ার লেভিন এই সাক্ষাৎকার দেওয়ার পুরোটা সময় জুড়েই অনেকটা আবেগে আপ্লুত ছিলেন, প্রায়ই চোখের জলে ভেসেছেন। 1971 সালে ভৌগোলিক এমনকি সাংস্কৃতিক যে পার্থক্য সেটি ঘুচিয়ে অনেক দূর থেকে তিনি ছুটে গিয়েছিলেন বাংলাদেশে, বাংলাদেশের মানুষের পাশে দাঁড়িয়েছিলেন। 2013 সালে 27শে মার্চ বাংলাদেশ সরকার মুক্তিযুদ্ধের এই মহান বন্ধুকে সম্মাননা জানিয়েছে। কেবল এটুকুই নয়, বাংলার মানুষের কাছে আসলে তিনি চিরদিনের জন্য আপনজন হয়ে আছেন, থাকবেন। স্বাধীনতার এই 50 বছরের অসাধারণ মুহূর্তে মুক্তিযুদ্ধের এই বন্ধুর প্রতি রইল অতল শ্রদ্ধা।